All right, let's move right on. So, after these last few rather complex tutorials, we're now going to move on to something very simple, very straightforward, just to take a little break, to let our brains rest a little. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the profile activity. So when a user clicks on one of the users in the user list, they can go to that person's profile. All right, let's close all of these, and we're going to create a brand new activity, empty activity, and it will be called profile. Okay, now that it's finished building, let's go over to our settings, rather our users activity, and let's put an on-click listener on our list. So what we want to happen, like I said, is we want to be able to click this, and we go to the activity view holder dot view dot set on click listener, and within that new on click listener, and then we say intent is equals to new intent and profile. Oh, have to start with context, sorry. Start with context and then profile dot class. Okay, now when we go to the profile, we will have the details about the user. We'll have their image, their name, etc. But we'll need to tell the application which particular user that we need to go to, and of course it will be the user we clicked on. So how can we, from the click, pass on that information that that's the user that we want to see? The way we do that is by passing in the person's unique identifier, their UID, through the intent. So what we could do, and actually what we may do later on, is add yet another variable to our class for the UID to make it more complete. But for the sake of learning, there's another way we can do. We can pass in that unique identifier, and that's by first typing intent dot put extra, and then we say UID, and here we pass in a variable we haven't created yet called UID. And what UID is equal to is, where can we put it? Let's put it at the very top. So string UID is equals to getRef, and then we pass in the position, and then dot get key. So a bit of an explanation of this. The getRef method returns a database reference on the position that was clicked. You have to pass in a position variable, which we get from the populate view holder method, and it will return you the reference. And by the reference, I mean it will return you essentially, let's go to the browser, it will bring back this entire block, this snapshot, let's call it. And then the next thing we do is we say dot get key, and the key, of course, is this is the key of each of the users, and that key is also, it happens to be the unique identifier, which is exactly what we're looking for. So string UID is equals to getRef position dot get key, and then we pass in that UID. Oh, it's giving me an error because it wants to be final. That's not a problem. There we go. Right, and that's all we're going to pass. So now we can say start activity intent. Yeah, and that is it. That's all we'll do in the user's activity for as far as the profile is concerned. So back to the profile activity, and I'll go ahead and close others. So it's been a while since I've saved this, but the next thing we're going to do is design work. And for design work, my rule is do it however you'd like it. So the way I want it is simply an image at the top, username, status, and one button. That's all I'm going to put. So let's start with that image view. This time I'll just use a regular image view. There's no need to overuse the circle image view. We put it in the center at the very top. And look for NIF. Okay. Oh, I forgot something. I'm even actually going to delete this. I'm going to go to text. I do not want to use constraint layout. Feel free to use it if you're good at it. Alright, let's try that again. So image view, and we put it in the center at the top. Look for NIF. There we go. I'm going to stretch it, the height to be let's say 200 dp. Let's see how that looks. Okay, we can change it later if we need to. And the width, I'm going to say match parent, but I may come and change that later. We'll see how it looks. Or better yet, no, let's leave it as wrap content. If we put match parent and somebody has a small image, then the rest will just be ugly empty space. Okay, underneath that, so actually I'll go ahead and just put 200 dp so it's uniform. Yes. Okay, underneath that I will have my text view. The center of the screen is fine. Okay, so this will be username. And I'll go over to text and I'll change its size to 30 dp. Even larger. 40. Okay, that looks good. Then I'll change its color to black. And yeah, that's pretty good. And then another text view underneath that, right underneath, and this time it's for status. Okay, I'll give it some padding. (20 dp). There we go. Alright, come to this and change its size. Actually, I'll just copy this, the text color and the text size from the username, and I'll put it here, and I'll change the size to 20 dp, half of the one on top. Now let's see 30. Okay. Alright, let's change this default text to username. And equally, this will be status. Whoa. Status. Okay. And finally, a button. And the button will be message. The text, message, I might change that though. And as for the styling, let's actually go to the start activity. And I will copy, I suppose, the bottom one, though I'll change it to be green. So let's see, click that. Yes, so I'll take its background tint and its color, copy that, take it over here, and paste it below. So of course I have to delete this text one. Okay, and also the width to 80 dp. So I'll copy this and take it here and paste right at the top. Oh, then I have to get rid of this one. I should have just written it directly there. I'm gonna drag that to the middle. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's it. So like I said, I want this to actually be green, not red. So that's color primary. There we go. And yeah, I like how that looks, but this is just it's a placeholder design. I may change it later, but username, status, and a button to send a message, that's all we need for the design. And the final thing we'll do just for this activity is to connect this to our Java. So let's go to the profile, close others, and start doing that. So the first thing is context, then I'll initialize that. Context is equals to this. Okay, next is private image view avatar, followed by private text view username and status, and finally private button, no, not button, message. Okay, let's initialize all of that. Avatar is equals to find view by id r.id.avatar. I'm just going to make sure, because I can't quite remember giving it an ID. I didn't exactly. So let's go to this, write avatar, press enter, and yeah. Okay, next thing, actually I should mention now, a good practice that I haven't used in this tutorial but that you guys may benefit from picking up is give these things different names, these IDs, even though they are on different activities and they won't really affect each other. It's good just for the sake of remembering. So in this case I could have, for example, said avatar, no, profile activity avatar, just so that it's different from the other ones. It's more readable. Okay, that was just a by the way. Let's move on to username. Username is equals to find view by id r.id.username, and then I'll just do Control D twice and say status and status, and finally message and message. And I mistakenly put this instead of, I put quotes instead of terminations. Okay, so that's all our widgets connected. Next thing we could do is we could get what we sent from the user's activity through the intent. We could get that data. So let's say string, oh okay, it should be, we should have it all the way up here, string UID, and then initialize it here. We say UID is equals to get intent dot get extra, get string extra, and it was UID. Okay, that will hold our unique identifier. And next we can create a database reference, but I will do that one in the next part. We've successfully created our profile activity. So let's continue in the next one.